Hello Mila, hello Jack, hello everybody else who's watching, and welcome to Storytime with Grandad. Today's book is from the Magic Roundabout, and it is the Magic Roundabout Storybook. I'm going to be late, panted Dougal as he hurried through the streets of the enchanted village. His fur swished as he sped along. He was on his way somewhere very important. When Dougal reached the village square, he found everyone had gathered for Ermintrude's special concert. Dougal, smiled Florence, you're just in time. Yes, Florence, replied Dougal in a small voice. Some very loud singing filled the square, but instead of playing along on his guitar, Dylan was dozing off. Ermintrude flicked her tail and woke the sleepy rabbit. Florence turned to give Dougal a nice pat on the head, but he had disappeared. Dougal hurried along as fast as he could go. Passing a concert poster, he jumped up to grab a small, sharp drawing pin. Dougal placed the pin in the middle of the road and hid. The candy seller would soon pass by on his trike, full of delicious lollipops and chocolates. Pop went the trike's tire on the sharp pin. Oh dear, exclaimed Dougal, and he offered to look after the sweeties, while the candy seller went in search of a repair kit. He was about to help himself to a yummy caramel cream when his furry paw brushed against the trike's gear stick. Whoops! The trike took off at high speed, heading straight for the village. Whoa, help! Cried Dougal, falling off with a bump. Crash! The trike smashed into the magic roundabout as everyone watched helplessly. The roof of the roundabout exploded. Bikini preserve us, cried Ermintrude. With Florence and the children still clinging on, the roundabout began to turn faster and faster. A strange icy mist swirled all around. It's out of control, shouted Mr. Rusty. Another shudder, and two shadowy shapes catapulted out of the hole in the roundabout's roof to land on a far-away mountainside. Before long, the roundabout was frozen solid, with Florence and the children trapped inside. Zebedee, 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 cried Dougal, Dylan, Brian, and Ermintrude in unison. Boing! When Zebedee arrived, he was horrified. I hoped this day would never come. The day Zebad escapes. He is an evil springer with incredible magic powers, and only by returning 3 enchanted diamonds to the roundabout will you defeat him. But if he finds them first, he will use them to freeze the sun forever. Nothing will grow, not even grass. One of the diamonds is here, and I must stay behind to guard it. To find the other 2, you will need this map. Meanwhile, far away, on a snowy mountainside, the 2 shadowy figures landed. Free at last, Zebad smiled wickedly. Soon it will be nice and frozen everywhere. A crackle of icy magic zapped from his moustache. A moose grazing nearby turned bright blue and galloped off. Another spark zapped towards a toy soldier half buried in the snow. At once the toy soldier grew bigger and saluted his new master. Soldier Sam, sir, reporting for duty. Back in the enchanted village, Zebedee took out a magic box and pressed a big green button. Instantly, a little red train appeared with a jolly toot-toot. Take good care of this little box, said Zebedee, handing the magic box to Dylan. Don't worry, Florence, we're going to get you out of there, promised Dougal, as they climbed aboard the train and set off to find the diamonds. On the way, Dougal tried to explain to his friends about the crashed trike and the wrecked roundabout. I only wanted to get my teeth into some sweeties, he pleaded. But they were all very cross with him, and that night his friends left him alone to keep watch over the camp. Why do I have to be the guard dog? He whined. What's wrong with a guard cow? In the morning, Dugall was nowhere to be seen. Dugall, they shouted hopelessly. Zebad had captured Dugall in the night and imprisoned him in his ice palace. Now, you dim-witted draft excluder, tell me everything, he demanded. Me? I don't know anything. I don't even have the map, cried Dugall. So, there's a map, eh? Sam, torture this boarding house for fleas until he tells us everything, ordered Zebad. Soldier Sam had never tortured anyone before, so he asked Dugall what he was afraid of. Dugall knew just what to say. Sugar, and now he was happily munching on his 27th sugar lump. No, please, don't, no more, please, he moaned, pretending to be in terrible pain. Zebad listened to the moans and groans with glee. Wah ha ha! Soon the diamonds will be mine, he sniggered horribly. Meanwhile, a little help from the friendly blue moose had led Dugall's friends to Zebad's cave. The gang made a clever plan to rescue Dugall. Carefully, Ermintrude was lowered through the roof. Thud! She landed right on top of Soldier Sam. After them, called Zebad as he spotted the rescuers escaping through the roof. Slipping and sliding along a snowy pathway as fast as they could, the chase led them to the edge of a very tall cliff. Whoa! That is deep, said Dylan. Zebedee, Zebedee, Zebedee! They called desperately. Zippity zappity, sang Zebedee, springing to the scene. You, growled Zebad menacingly. Zebad fired an icy blast, just missing Zebedee's spring. The old enemies flew into a mighty battle. Run, everybody, warned Zebedee, just as one of Zebad's icy rays froze him to the cliff's edge. Zebedee's in trouble, cried Dugall. Too late. They watched in horror as Zebad blasted away the cliff edge beneath Zebedee and their friend fell far below. Get the diamonds, he cried. The friends turned and ran for their lives. The group chugged sadly across a snowy landscape. Now who's going to help Florence and the children, worried Dugall. Who's going to help us, wailed Ermintrude. We will have to be brave and find the diamonds, Brian reminded them. That's a spirit, Brian, piped up Dugall, trying to sound brave. Nothing short of a sea of boiling lava will keep me from that diamond. Now, where's the map? Oh dear, said Dugall gloomily, looking at a sea of boiling lava. The map had led them to the top of a volcano. Well, that's where the first diamond is, said Ermintrude, pointing to a stone tower in the middle. A tiny bridge crossed over the lava field to the tower. Trembling, Train edged forward, but the bridge started to crumble like a broken biscuit. Train's wagons slid off, with Dugall and Ermintrude still in it. Whoa, Dylan, help! They shrieked. Seconds ticked by. I'm totally not Train, said Dylan as he finally found the right button, and Train pulled itself back onto the bridge. Ahead of them, there it was. Dylan reached out and took the first enchanted diamond. Then, to their amazement, inside the sparkling blue stone, a vision of the Magic Roundabout appeared. Sniffing back tears, they watched poor Florence and the children shivering inside. They were freezing fast. Moments later, Zebad pounced and swiped the diamond. And I'll take the map too, he growled. How does he know about the map? Asked Brian. Dugall looked at the ground. They tortured it out of me, he declared. You only get the map over my dead body, said Brian bravely. Request granted. Get out the garlic butter, ordered Zebad. Leave him alone. Take the map, said Ermintrude angrily. So they did, and left, smashing the bridge to bits behind them. With no bridge, it seemed there was no way out for the gang. Dylan remembered the magic box. He pressed the button, and poof! Train's wagon turned it into a boat. They sighed with disappointment. What was the use of the boat on top of a volcano? Wait, I've got it, said Dylan. Working quickly, he pulled their tents together to transform the boat into a hot air balloon. My, you are clever, said Ermintrude as they took to the sky. We still have no idea where we're going, sniffed Brian. Brian's right. We could drift around for years, Dugall added. Or we could just, follow them, suggested Dylan sleepily. Far below, in an old rowing boat, Zebad was making for the second diamond. Row faster, you wooden windbag, he cursed. Yes, sir, answered Sam. Zebad and Sam arrived at a temple in the jungle. This is definitely the place, said Zebad, checking the map carefully. Suddenly, a sharp stick sprang out of nowhere, just missing Sam's head. Booby traps. Zebad looked up to see the balloon boat coming down, just outside the temple entrance. They're still alive, he complained. No matter. Booby traps need a bunch of boobies. We'll let them clear the way. The balloon boat landed with a bump and everyone tumbled out. Dugall led the way to the temple as a spear whooshed past his nose. Now leading the way did not seem a very good idea. No one wanted to go first. Oh, for heaven's sake, I'll go, Brian said. Avoiding rocks, spears, snakes and arrows, he muttered grumpily to himself all the way. Inside the old temple was a great throne room. The perfect place to enjoy my last gobstopper, said Dugall cheerfully as he climbed the magnificent stone throne. Oh great, a reclining button. He pressed a button on the armrest. With a low rumble, a stone altar shot up through the temple floor. A claw held a sparkling yellow diamond. Instantly, light beams crisscrossed the room. They're alarm beams, shouted Brian. In moments, clever Ermintrude took to the floor, and she bent, twisted, and leapt like a ballet dancer over and under the alarm beams, all the way to the diamond. Well done, that was brill, said Dugall brightly as the gobstopper flew out of his mouth. Whoops, he added, as it broke through an alarm beam. With a crash, 4 ninja skeletons burst through the floor. I don't suppose anyone knows anything about martial arts, gasped Ermintrude. Just the basics of kung fu, karate, judo, kendo, taekwondo, anything you can do. And tai chi, replied Dylan lazily. Ooh, do those come with egg-fried rice, drawled Dugall. Dylan, can you beat them up, asked Brian, just as the skeleton flung a flying kick at Dylan's head. Only in self-defence, Dylan replied, smashing the skeleton against the wall with a cool kung fu chop. When Dylan had finished, all that remained of the 4 skeletons were heaps of bones. Good group effort, said Dugall. Let's get the diamond. But behind him, the skeleton bones twitched and slid together, this time into one giant monster skeleton. Help! Dogs are meant to eat bones, not the other way around, cried Dugall as he raced around the room, followed by the monster. Just in time, Dugall hopped onto the throne and desperately pressed a button with his nose. Suddenly, the floor beneath the skeleton disappeared, sending it crashing through the hole into the darkness below. Let's grab the diamond and get out of here, said Dugall. But the diamond had gone. Zebad must have followed us. But only we know where that final diamond is, said Dougal, just as an evil cackle sounded behind him. Zebad was holding the second diamond. Now, tell me where the third diamond is, he shouted. Dougal, now, squealed Ermintrude. Dougal dashed to the throne and pressed the button again. Zebad and Sam tumbled down into the hole. Hooray, the gang cheered. Back to the roundabout as fast as we can, called Ermintrude. Dylan heard a friendly toot-toot. Train to the rescue, and coming up fast behind it, another train with Zebad and Sam aboard. Where's my last diamond? Screamed Zebad as Sam stoked the red-hot boiler. Dylan looked at the train's controls. An anti-spring device. This'll slow Zebad down, he said hopefully, but it was an ejector seat. Unluckily, Brian was pinged upwards, landing with a bump on the roof of Zebad's train. Did we reach the roundabout yet? Called out the dazed snail. So that's where you're headed, shouted Zebad triumphantly. Using her tail as a rope, Ermintrude made a dramatic rescue and swung Brian back aboard the train. But by now Zebad's train was glowing red hot. With a great bang the engine exploded and the two passengers were flung into the distant hills. But it was the end of the line for the little red train too. It crashed into the buffers, and dog, cow, rabbit and snail were thrown high into the sky. Thud, 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 thud. The five landed heavily on a snowy hilltop. We must get back to the roundabout before Zebad, said Brian. Hang on, Zebad doesn't know the diamond is at the roundabout, said Dougal. Brian blushed and admitted. Back there, on the train, it just slipped out. Poor damaged train gave a weak toot, but could not keep up. Oh, poor trainee, sighed Ermintrude sadly. You can make it, just follow our tracks, said Brian, as they set off on foot. On they went until they were so tired that they curled up in the snow and fell fast asleep. The next morning the sun shone down and woke up the sleepy friends, and they saw the enchanted village just a short walk away. Soldier Sam had been badly hurt when the train exploded, and his cruel master left him to die in the mountains. But with a little help from a certain blue moose, Sam followed Zebad all the way back to the village. He found Zebad on top of the roundabout, searching for the last diamond. You? Spat Zebad angrily when he saw the soldier arrive. It's time for me to resume my post guarding the magic roundabout from the likes of you, said Sam grimly. You were on the roundabout, sneered Zebad, firing a huge blast at the soldier. Wham! Sam's chest split open and a bright light shone out. The diamond! And to think I left you to die, laughed Zebad, and he grabbed the stone. So long, sunshine! Now Zebad joined the power of the three diamonds together, and slowly ice began to creep over the face of the sun. The gang arrived. Too late, we're doomed, gasped Brian. This is all my fault, wailed Dougal. Dylan was furious. You're seriously messing with my karma. Eat this, he shouted at Zebad, hurling a snowball. Zebad turned and aimed his moustache to zap Dylan. Ah! Screamed out Ermintrude's powerful voice as a stinging beam struck her on the tail. Dougal blinked. He was sure he could see a tiny crack in the frozen roundabout. He had an idea. That's it, Ermintrude. Sing, sing! Ermintrude sang even louder, and sure enough, bigger cracks snaked across the ice. Dougal, Dylan and Brian dived for the diamonds, ducking and dodging Zebad's deadly blasts. With an amazing display of teamwork, the two diamonds were slotted into their proper places on the roundabout. But Zebad still had the third diamond. To everyone's surprise, Toot Toot Train rushed into the village, flattening Zebad under its wheels and sending the last diamond sailing high into the sky. Like a top-class footballer, Dugall headed it into place. No! Raged Zebad, as he was sucked deep down into a vortex at the centre of the earth, along with all the ice and the snow he had brought with him. We did it, the friends cheered happily. Of course we did it, darlings. There's nothing like opera for breaking the ice, trilled Ermintrude. Shivering, the children stepped off the magic roundabout, but Florence did not move. Dugall ran to her side and frantically licked her frozen face. Her eyelids fluttered. Hooray! She was alive! Far away at the foot of a mountain, Zebedee too sprung to life and bounced back to the roundabout to join the others. Bravo, my friends! Everyone knows that after winter, it's time for spring. But someone was not happy. Curses! Imprisoned once more, muttered Zebad. The end. Goodbye, Mila. Goodbye, Jack. I'll see you soon. Goodbye, everybody. Bye.